Hello everyone, this is Victor Dantas here from the Zero to Hero Academy. Over the years we have helped multiple professionals either get into the Power Platform market or some of the seasoned professionals within the industry up their game within the low-code technologies. And we are here to announce that we have a special program coming up between March 19th and May 30th. This is the Power Pages and AI Zero to Hero Mentorship Program. Join us, click on the link, access the lessons. You know how we do it. Live lessons on Teams, and then the recorder goes up to YouTube and you can follow if you are in different time zones, but we prefer it to join it live. Connect, ask questions. So go ahead, invite your colleagues, your dad, your mom, your grandpa. Let's everybody join the fun. All right, we'll see you there. Take care. Hello and good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. We are live on Teams, on X, LinkedIn, Facebook. We are live everywhere. Myself, Tino Rabe, and our dear friend Jean-Francois is here live as well. I think we have some other folks in the chat area here on Teams. If you're watching it live in any other platform but Teams, I will share the link that you can join us in the live discussion as well. And I will also keep my eyes open for questions on the other channels, and we'll try to do this multi social media platforms at the same time. Hopefully we'll get it going. Tino Rabe, second lesson. The first lesson was amazing. I got a lot of feedback from folks in the industry. There has been lots of changes to the platform, to Power Pages, and it was nice top-down overview of all the all the integration assets that are available in Power Pages, especially the most recent ones. So thank you so much, Tino. Today we're gonna talk a little bit more about ProDev strategies in Power Pages and also leveraging AI to assist us. Tino, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much again for having me. So, as you said, today we're going to talk about CoPilot heavily. Before I do that, maybe a quick word or two about myself. My name is Tino Rabe. I'm located in Germany and I work for a German Microsoft partner called Adesso. Um, yeah, I have the goal to make the Power Pages community strive. This is where my heart is at right now, I would say, for the past year. So I'm trying to share as much as I can, and I'm also trying to share as much knowledge as I can, because I've been doing this since 2014, back in the day when it still was ADX Studio, before it was even Microsoft product. And yeah, I think we now have the momentum in the market to push this product, Power Pages, and I'm happy to do whatever I can to help in the push, essentially. You can see a QR code if you like. Follow this. This will lead you to my LinkedIn profile. Where you can see my various activities. If you're interested, I run a weekly newsletter. This is just dedicated to Power Pages, nothing else. So you can stay on top of all the updates that are coming from Microsoft and from the fantastic community of Power Pages. All right, so first session was about the integrations of Power Pages that are available as of yet. The next session today will be completely different. Today, we are going to use Microsoft Copilot in Visual Studio Code Web as much as we can to basically refactor something that comes out of the box. So what we're going to refactor here is the standard design pattern that usually comes in Power Pages solutions when you start out, which is you have a web page with a list that shows records, and from that list, you're able to drill into one of the records with the help of a details page where you can see all the various details of the record. So this is easily done by configuration in Power Pages Design Studio and the various management apps. But what we're going to do today is to build it completely from scratch, blank canvas. And the only help that we have is our knowledge and Copilot, which should help us fly through the storm of ProCode. So what we're going to do, we are going to write custom HTML code that leverages Bootstrap. We are going to write custom liquid statements alongside of JavaScript for all the required functionality that we have. And eventually we can sneak peek into a nice functionality of Copilot and Power Pages, which is the explain code feature. So we can understand in human language what we actually wrote or what Copilot maybe suggested to us and we quite don't understand it. All right. So before we do that, a quick word or two about Copilot. It's the word of this year, I would say, even last year. And I can remember when Copilot entered the Power Platform or Microsoft entered Copilots. There was some uncertainty in the market, like, oh, will my job still be safe in a couple of years? Will AI take over? And now that we have some confidence, some experience, I think it's safe to say no, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Copilot to me and Copilot in its various forms in Microsoft products is a tool and not a competitor from what I see. Um, it can be a great help in your toolbox, but at the end of the day, it comes down to your knowledge, to the human factor to really build out cool solutions. I also in this time came across this this tweet that circulated around the web, which was to replace programmers with robots. Clients will have to accurately describe what they want. We're safe. So I remember this going around in the company I worked for, and we had quite a laugh about it. And that is so essential because at the end of the day, you really need to tell the co-pilot what you want to do. Yeah. So it really comes down to the prompts that you provide. So at the end of the day, what I see is that prompt engineering itself, how you write prompts, how you formulate your thoughts, your requirements, your desires towards a piece of software becomes an essential skill. And I just also by having this experience, by preparing this session, I would say start today to really get some grip on this. Victor, I can see you raised your hand.
Yes, our next mentorship is around prompt engineering. We are calling it ProPilots. So you probably saw some funny pictures about, enhancing our skills with the use of copilots. That's the idea, and there's a push even within Microsoft to help the community in that front as well. So stay tuned. Maybe Tino will be back here in a few weeks if he is available. So we'll see.
Count me in anytime. Okay, cool. So um, let's go back to the content of this session. So what I've prepared, and I'm going to show this to you in real life. I've prepared a website, a Power Page website, which uses a standard principle. We have a list that shows active contact records. It's just a standard list element. By the way, I think it's the new experience even. So the new list experience that has just been published. And from here, we can drill into any of those to check for details. And once we do that, you will see that the URL enlarges. So we are actually entering a new site, a new web page in our Power Pages solutions, where we just look at a form that shows all the details of the contact record. Eventually, oh, there it is. I was not patiently enough. Okay, so you can see standard basic form. You can do all kinds of things here, like change the first name. Let's change it to Tino and say submit. Then we're using this. Oh, there must be a valid email address, of course. So let's do it like that. And once we do that, I can have a look at the database. First, I get the success message. And then once I look into the database, this is now looking at Dataverse with the help of a model-driven app. We can see this is my contact record that I just changed, and it's working fine here. You see the email address. Cool. So standard principle, nothing new to you. but we are going to refactor this as close and as much as we can in the given time from scratch. So you not only learn how to do that and maybe learn how Copilot does it, but you will also learn of how I, as a solution engineer for Power Pages solution, would deconstruct this. Because maybe you heard it, for sure I heard it many times saying, oh, it's easy to refactor this. If I talk to a front-end development engineer, he says, oh, it's no big deal. I can refactor this from scratch with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, no big deal. Just a day or two. And then I say, and these are probably the more inexperienced engineers, then I would say, yeah, but you may not forget what the product already. If you refactor this from scratch, this is what you need to consider. At least I would say these are the basic building blocks. Yeah, if you want to have a list page, you need a web page as a container. Okay, that's easily done. But you need to have a title that's formatted. Then you need to query the data for the list. Once you have queried this, you need to put this out as a table, and you need to technically organize that you have a button to actually go to a details page. Yeah. Once you then have the details page, it's the same with the title, but then you need to have an input form. You need to query the data because you want to pre-populate the form for your user. You don't want them to start from scratch because we are opening an existing contact record. Once we have queried the data, we need to expose it. Then we need a submit button and also some kinds of status management once you hit the submit button, like a loading screen, a success screen at least. Then you need to have the actual data operation. Yeah, you want to make the updates, for instance. And at the end of the day, also a success message. So you can see these are 10 basic building blocks that you need to take care of. And again, I want to highlight the value that I tell my clients about Power Pages. All these problems have been solved for you one way or another to get you started, to not leave you in the rain of building this out by yourself from scratch. So maybe for a next discussion, you have some ammunition, I'd say. All right, so these are exactly the building blocks that we're going to look at. 10 easy steps. Before we start and look at Visual Studio Code Web, short disclaimer, this should be a somewhat depiction of myself. Yeah, we have limited time. So I'm sitting in a race car with an old mindset of not having used Copilot so heavily because it's still in preview. And instead of having nice round wheels that ensure a smooth ride, we have Copilot, which is not completely round, yeah, which could lead maybe to some bumpy situations in the demo. Because at the end of the day, of course, I have pre-tested all the prompts, but sometimes I get different results, yeah, because yeah, it's a large language model. It's not guaranteed that you always get the same output for the given input. So if something is bumpy, stay with me. I'll try to solve it the best I can. All right. So with that out of the way, let's start with the demo. How do you start? You open your design studio, your Power Pages design studio, create a new web page, and from there you have this edit code button. And then you open Visual Studio Code Web and you have this little beautiful icon down here, which is Copilot. You click on this and then you're all ready to go. I have already created those pages in advance, so we don't lose time. So we have a Copilot list webpage and a Copilot details webpage. If you want to open them up, all right. You can simply go to your webpage of desire and then you say edit code. Then it prompts you and you say open Visual Studio Code. This essentially just opens a web version of Visual Studio Code and is already aware of your Power Pages solution. Of course, you could use it locally with Visual Studio Code, not for the web, but for desktop. And then you just need to connect to your Dataverse environment and run some commands to download and access the Power Pages solution on the desktop. We're not going to do this today. We have these two pages. We have the Copilot list webpage and we have the Copilot details webpage. As you can see, they're nice and empty. If I would look to them on the, let me get this out of the way real quick here. If I would look here, we have the Copilot list, which is exactly the page that I've shown. It's empty. And then we have also the details, which is also empty. All right. So then I'd say we'll start with the first prompt. So how would I'm doing this professionally. How would I conquer this? Well, first, I would like to structure my document. This is just some HTML, and I'm going to add lots of things. And I like to structure my document so I can navigate my way around this. So really, what I would like to do, I like to structure this with some liquid comments so they're not visible on the browser client side. So if here I have a prompt, I'm just going to copy this and put it into the Copilot. So, and we are in the situation that we basically don't really know how to code. We have some idea, but we really want to be guided. And that's why we ask Copilot everything. So here I asked, how do I make a comment block in Liquid? And this is exactly how you do it. Very good. But I like to have this in one line. So I'm a lazy person in that case. So I need a comment block of Liquid written out in a single line. So let's see. Very good. That works. So then what you can do now really the power comes into play. You can go onto the position in your document and just have this little insert button right here. And then it just copies over the code for you. Of course, you could copy it to your clipboard, but I take advantage of this insert to code editor feature here. So I will do this quite a few times now, so you can see how I structure my solutions. I usually have 4 blocks. I would say that's the ordinary case. The first block is the data provider block. In this block, I put everything that I need just to get my data for the work that I need to do. The next one is the HTML and liquid block. So as the name suggests, all of our HTML and eventually liquid like content snippets or include tags go in here. Then I have, I missed one before, which is in this showcase, I will organize CSS as internal CSS, not as external, not as inline, just to make life easier. And last but not least, we have our JavaScript block. So everything that is on the custom code side. All right, so I can get rid of this one. And then that's good. I have already structured my document. Maybe another short disclaimer. Of course, this is not the most proficient way to do it. Yeah, I'm just directly working in the web page copy field. So there's no reusability throughout your solution. It's just isolated to this one web page. I'm completely aware that you should do it in the other way around, like have it in a web template, segment it, make it reusable, make it modular so you can call different functionalities, pre-made snippets, and so on. But for the sake of this demonstration, let's keep things simple, have everything in one place, although it's not the most proficient way to do it in a real life project. But you will get the idea. Okay, cool. So I have my first building block almost done. We'll have the next one, which is, I actually didn't script out, but I will do it right now. Write an HTML statement for a headline saying a Copilot list. And let's say we use a Bootstrap headline. Let's see what it comes up with. You're welcome, Kevin. All right, so, okay, that's fairly easy. So what we're going to do, we are going to, well, let's do it a bit differently. It's in my next prompt. Okay, that's fine. So that was the first building block. Sorry, I got a little confused, so bear with me. We just created the outline. Now we're going to have the title and also the data query. Okay, so next prompt, and I have scripted it out, but I will talk you through this. Can I show this to you? I show it to you right here. This is the prompt, which is a large one. So I want to add a new Bootstrap row that holds the title Copilot list. Yeah, just add it to the HTML document so that I have a nice title to the page. The next thing that I want to have, I want to add another row that holds a Bootstrap 5 table with 5 columns. So I want to basically let Copilot create new row in Bootstraps that has table with 5 columns, and then I will describe how the table should look like. So we need to have a table header, which is first name, last name, email, and phone, which is totally fine because this is what we have in our standard. First name, last name, email, phone. Cool. The last header column shall be empty because what I said, I want to have 5 columns and only I specified 4 header columns. That's because in our last column, I want to inject a button later so that I can go to the details page. All right, so the last header column shall be empty. Then the table data shall be taken from the liquid variable. Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I went to step 3. Oh dear, today's not going so well. I'm sorry, I missed the prompt step, which is the data query. So let's do this real quick beforehand. I want to fetch the data from Dataverse so that I can actually see all the active contacts in the given structure. So write a liquid fetch XML statement to query the contacts table for active records. I want to fetch the attributes first name, last name, and so on. And the fetch results shall be assigned to the fetch XML variable 0 to hero contacts. Cool. So let's do that. So it has written out for me a nice fetch XML statement, which if I were new to Power Pages, I would maybe have to look it up quite extensively on how to actually structure this fetch XML statement. So let's see how good we are. So 0 hero contacts, active, that looks good. So I'm going to inject this in my data provider section. So what does it do? It opens this fetch XML statement in Liquid, and yeah, it just fetches the contact entity with D4 attributes and has a filter condition. Very good. That's exactly what we want. So we save this. I just hit Control S. And then let's see if we can already see something. We shouldn't, by the way. So I'm just going to clear the cache real quick. This will take a second. It's just good practice that whenever you do something that is finished, yeah, as a small item, check how it looks. Because if you do too much, too many steps at once, then you publish and you encounter an error, then troubleshooting could be way harder. So segment your code and your testing in between. All right, so I have invalidated the cache, and now I'm going to have a look if we can see anything. We can't, so that's good. Why is that? Because we have done nothing. We have only worked on server side to query the data. All right. So next step is already talked you through this, so I can pick up on that. This liquid variable, 0 to hero contacts, that we have just created in the previous step, will now be consumed, and we inject the results into that custom HTML table that is going to be created from that prompt in the first place. Little twist to it, that I said each table row shall have a very subtle purple hover effect once the mouse cursor reaches it. So let's see how things turn out, shall we? So if the product team listens eventually, a very good thing is to make this a multi-line text field, the prompt input. That would be very nice because it's just a single line. Okay, so this is what Copilot came up with. So basically says, yeah, we have a new row container. Okay, I think that's a bit mixed up. From what I know, it's the other way around, container row, but never mind. We can use it anyway. And then we have our table. The table has a class. It doesn't have an ID. I would usually have an ID in it so I can use it in my code. But never mind. We have the head with the 5 columns where one is empty. Very good. Then it's querying the variable. Oh, I see an error there. It says for contact in 0 to hero contacts. It's missing .results.entities because bear in mind, whatever you receive from Liquid via fetch XML statement is always an object. Yeah, and it needs to iterate over those. So that's why it's a for loop, which Copilot did great, but it didn't really open up the object as you should. And then you have the different table rows, which is okay. So I think we're safe that we can inject this. Let me quickly have a sneak peek that I'm not doing something totally crazy here. Okay. So what you see here, this was already there in the beginning. This is what Power Pages gives you once you create a standard blank page from the Design Studio. It's just a placeholder to have the format and the styling in the correct place. So I'm going to inject this in the very inner div. So again, I'm going to make use of my little helper here. Okay, then I will probably do this the right way around so that I'm actually getting results. What is missing? Copilot also offered me custom CSS. Luckily, I have my little section for that. So I'm just going to copy that in for the hover functionality. So let's save this and see how things turn out. You can see it's spinning. So yeah, it's a developer instance. So it's a bit slower than usual, but hey, it's working. So cache is invalidated. Let's see. Are we lucky? We're not. Something is missing that I have overlooked. Let's see. This is step 3. We have our row, container, table, yada, yada, yada. Maybe I did this wrong. I don't know. Let's see. No, that's fine. We have the end 4. It should work great, but it doesn't for some. Have I saved it? Let's have a look at the fetch XML statement one more time. Zero contacts. Zero contacts. Table version 0 set, no worries. Nothing got deleted here along the way. So, but thank you. It's always good to have someone look out. One more time. Maybe I was too fast. Still spinning. My eyes are focused on the little spinner, right? So Copilot list. I'm in the Copilot list details. Oh, that's exactly my problem. Aha, I'm in the details page and not on the list page. Oh dear. Okay, never mind. That's easily fixed. That's easily fixed. I just copy it over to another and have the standard up and running again. So sorry for that. It's a live session. It's a live demo, but we'll make it work. So what have I done? Just to give you context, maybe it was too fast. I have 2 pages. I have a details page, which is this, and I injected all my custom code on there. But what I want is to refactor the list, so I was on the wrong page. Never mind. Those things can happen. So we're on the Copilot list page this time. Aha, and there you go. Well, that's very nice. Let's have a look. Okay, this is what the standard looks like. Okay, it has a white background, which I could easily refactor, no problem. Don't want to get lost in details, but at the end of the day, I think it looks quite similar. Yeah, also have this hover effect, which is quite nice. Good. Let's move on. The next step will be that I have this, that I have a button to actually call a details web page. So this is my prompt. Add a hyperlink to another web page in the table row. That hyperlink shall look and feel like a clickable Bootstrap button. The hyperlink is constructed as follows. It is the current URL path that I am on right now. This one. Then the expression Copilot details is added to that because that's the partial URL of my child page. Last but not least, the expression ID is added alongside of the contact ID of the object contact, right? So this is very much, it's a mix of predefined programming language, I would say, and natural language. But I found this to be working quite well. And it does some heavy lifting for me, which we'll hopefully see in a second. So I just copied and pasted it in, and let's see what it suggests to us. So it says we have this ahref request path. Okay, I think that's not really what I want. Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. I can just inject this to this table data element. And I can I can try one thing. A cool thing is if you select this, you will see line 51 to 51 is selected. If I would select this, line 47 to 51 would be selected. So sometimes I'm lucky and it picks up the context in the way that I want. So let's see if it injects this ahref definition into the table data. It doesn't. Okay, never mind. Was just a lucky shot. Okay, so we have this. So what did it actually do? It is the request path. Okay, I would have, okay, maybe it works. We will see. So it's using the request object with the path attribute, which is basically just our URL that we have. And then it's adding what I want to it, copilot -details slash and ID, and then the contact ID, which is okay because we already have contact as the variable, and the contact ID, which is the GUID of the record, will always be included in the fetch XML output, although we did not specify it. Let's see how it works, shall we? Okay. Let's clear the cache. If we're lucky, we should see some buttons on the right-hand side. Oh, what do you know? Isn't that cool? If I remember myself some years ago, I would have to need to spend a significant amount of time to construct this statement. Yeah, like having those liquid objects, actually getting the URL shaped out as I would like to. So huge time saver in that case. Very cool. Does it actually work? If I click on here, it opens up. You can see we have a Copilot list slash, we have a double hyphen. Okay, there's a slight error. There should be only be one. Then it says Copilot details slash ID and then the ID of the contact record. Very good. So then let's remove this hyphen here and see if we are actually redirected to another page. Let's clear the cache. Yeah, exactly, Victor. Same here. So Victor's just saying that Copilot saves him time instead of going to the Microsoft Learner portal. And that's exactly my experience. Okay, if I now hit click me, it still opens this page. What did we do wrong? Copilot details. Well, it should be all right. I was using, well, if I were to build this, I would use the page object. In that case, maybe that's an issue. Let's see if this works better. Yeah, could also work. Again, you know, with these solutions, there are so many ways to accomplish things. The one that I have just inserted did work. But of course, now I'm reloading the page, which doesn't make sense. So let's go to our list one more time. Exactly. Hit click me. Oh, could it well be that I still have the old code there? Going to save this because I did have the list in there before, and maybe it's still, I have not uploaded it to Dataverse yet, that I have cleared this. But at least the URL is right. Still clearing. I know. I'm sorry that you have to look at so much cache clearing today, but what can you do? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So root cause, I still had, because I was starting to build out the list, on the details page, I still had the list definition. So if I now hit click me, it redirects me to the details page and there's nothing on it. Very good. So I think we made good progress here. We have, it looks a bit different, of course. Yeah, we don't have this nice fly out menu, but at the end of the day, I can live with that, considering that I just spent, I don't know, 25 minutes on it, maybe 30. Very good. So next, what we're going to do, we're going to look at the details page. So this time, this is the list page. This is the details page. Again, I start from blank. This is what Power Pages provides me with whenever I create a new web page with a blank template. And let's see the next step. So here I just want to have, again, a headline on my page so I can see where I'm at. And then to make it a little bit more nice looking, or to showcase what's possible, I want to add a highlighted instruction saying you may change yada yada. So let's do this. It is doing this prompt. I'm just going to quickly, to save some time here, I'm just going to refactor this so that I have my outline that I need. You know, structure the document. Good. And while I did that, we have our result, which is this. This looks huge to me. But hey, why not? I think you can work with that. I'm just comparing what has been put out this time and what I have done previously. So we could use it, I think. 200px, okay. So let's paste it in there. Save it. Did we get any CSS? No, not this time, because we're using standard Bootstrap classes. Sorry, Bootstrap classes. So I'm going to reload from here, and then I will click into the details page. And there you go. We have a nice heading and we have a info block. Cool. I can live with that. Next step, which is we want to create an input form. Let's do that. This is the prompt that I'm going to use, which is I want to add a new row that holds a Bootstrap form. The form shall hold 4 input fields. These are the 4 fields, which is first name, last name, email, phone number. I made it a little twist to it and say that the last name is indicated as mandatory. So, which is exactly what we have in our standard solution. Last name is a mandatory field. Okay. And then I also do some styling because I found that it's a bit too crunched. So I say between each input field, add a line spacing of 1 line. All right. Let's see what Copilot has to offer for us. All right. So we have a new row with a form. Okay, the form doesn't have an ID, which I don't like, but we will use it anyway. I would like to inject this form group exactly underneath here. All right. Just paste it over, and then we have some custom CSS, which I'm happy to inject here. Let's see how things turn out. What has it done? It's created a form for us with 4 inputs. Each has a label. The last name has a required attribute to it, also with a nice little span element, so it's visually indicated right from the get-go. And let's see how it looks. How far we're off from our standard basic form. So if you can take one thing out of the session is Tino showed me how spinners looked when you invalidate the cache. Okay, it's done. Wow, it looks good, right? So this is our custom approach. This is our standard approach. Well, okay, it's a bit off, right? So how a basic form is rendered in the DOM, you can see it's a bit indent, and I didn't take care of that right now, but I think it looks good still. Teams is giving me a hard time. So this is how it looks like right as we have it now. Perfectly fine. Very cool. And with some simple prompts, it was easily done. Right. Moving on. Now I want to pre-populate those fields because, yeah, in the standard, whenever I open a contact record, the contact details of that record are pre-filled in the fields. I want to do the same. I don't want to enter them, overwrite them from scratch. So our next step is this little typo. Write liquid code to fetch contact details, first name, last name, email, phone, using the contact ID from the URL. If there is data retrieved, inject it into the existing Bootstrap form. If there is no data retrieved, provide with a meaningful alert message. So I even inserted a very basic error handling, and I challenge Copilot to read the contact ID from the URL. Let's see how it does. Paste. And one thing, while it's still working, we are using the Microsoft Copilot. In earlier sessions, I think by Franco, we were using GitHub Copilot, which is different. Yeah, you don't have these inline tools except of explain. But I think with the GitHub Copilot, you could even select code and then get different answers for them, which we don't have right here. Okay, so it's done. So what did it provide with? It did again a fetch XML statement. Then it's iterating over the results. This time's in the correct way, and then it is filling the results to the actual input fields. Very nice. And there's also a if-else statement in the if statement. So if we do have the contact record, then it will pre-populate the form. If not, we will have a script which is an alert function to say no contact data found for the provided ID. Okay, let me quickly check if I had the same in previous tries. Yeah, we had the fetch, which looks good to me. It also says fetch contacts, very good. Then, okay, then I can replace this, and then I have some script. Okay, I would do it differently. At this time, I wouldn't even need to have script because Liquid is processed server side, so it can already evaluate whether there's a contact record or not. If not, I can just manipulate the DOM to my desires. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, is there a meaningful way to go to the end? No, okay, no problem. Then I just say, if there's no data retrieved, provide with information, just using plain, or just using Bootstrap and not JavaScript. So I've not tried this before. Let's see how things work out. I do have the code, so we can't fall very deep. Okay, it's working heavy. Okay, so what we have some HTML, that's fine. Then we have our liquid query, that's also good, which is now, okay. So again, we have our if statement and else, okay, it's still script. So if you don't mind, I'm going to use the solution that I have already built out, just to make things easier. I will talk you through this one more time. I just copy and paste this. So what have I just done? So we will use that fetch XML statement that we got suggested with in the first place, which is this one. to query contacts, very much alike of the first query that we did on the list page, except, and this is where Copilot did very well, to actually identify the contact ID, we are using the request params object and here query the ID attribute. So what it essentially does, it goes through the URL, looks at ID, and just copies the value out of it. Very good. This would have taken me some minutes to figure out probably if I wouldn't have Copilot. So, and then we have our form, which is now a bit enhanced. It is like before, only that we have a values preset. And I think that last time is no longer mandatory, but we can, no problem with that. And the else statement is completely organized as HTML and no Bootstrap HTML instead of script. So let's see how things turn out. Let's reload and hopefully we will see some values in here right now. Very good. There it is. Yeah, and as I said, last name is no longer required field. Never mind, we can look over that. But that worked out. Very good. How does the standard look? Like this. Good. Tino DWDD. Yeah. Also the data is correct. Okay. We're on a good path here. So we now want a submit button and some visual status indication once we click the submit button. Next step, which is add a horizontal line in light gray and the Bootstrap submit button. Once that submit button is clicked, a loading pop-up screen shall appear and the submit button shall read loading. All right, let's see. I don't need to highlight anything. Still working on it. Okay, so we have a lot of artifacts. First, we have the horizontal line, which is styled. Okay, it's organized as inline CSS, could be internal to follow our structure. Never mind, we can use it still. And then we have an ID, we have a button, ID submit button, which reads out submit. Very cool. Then we have some script, which triggers a loading modal. And we have some additional HTML to organize the modal once so it can be loaded. All right, so I would say let's just put it in here, shall we? Let me quickly look up where the best thing was, the best area. Where's my HR? There. Okay, right under the endiv. Okay, which is, yeah, the div class row, which is right below the form where I want it. Yeah, so I would close this. This is our input form, and I want to have it right below the input form. I want to have a horizontal line and a submit button. Okay, very good. We've got this one in place. And then we have some script, which I'm just going to paste because I think it's the same that I had previously. Then here, submit button. So what it does, once the DOM element with ID submit button is clicked, then a text of loading is injected into the element, and then the modal is shown. So let's inject the script. Okay, I would just do a small indent. And then at some point, we want to organize the modal. To make my life very easy, I just paste it down here. Maybe we have a comment so that we actually know what's going on. Again, this would definitely be a functionality, a piece of code that you can reuse somewhere else. So I would organize it completely different. But never mind. let's call it loading modal. I think it's the exact same I had it before, exactly. So saved. So clear the cache. And reload the page. Then we should see a horizontal line and a submit button, just as we have in our standard implementation. There you go. This is our custom implementation. We have a horizontal line and a submit button. Let's click the submit button and we have a loading screen. How cool is that? This was some simple prompting and adds a lot of value to the solution, I feel. All right, cool. So we have the submit button and the status. Then we want to do the actual data operation. So we actually want to patch the contact record. So our next step to do that, oops, it's a simple one. Write a Power Pages web API function that updates the contact record by taking the values of the form input fields and so on. Okay, let's do it. I have to shift a little around because of that stupid Teams sharing window. I think you're all victims of that in your daily work. Right. So we've been provided with some JavaScript code. First, it's building a data object, contract data, which queries all the IDs of the div elements, or let's say of the form input elements. So first I'm going to check if those are accurate. Yeah. So each input element has an ID, which is first name, last name, then we have email, then we have phone. Very good. So I think we can just inject it into the script. Comfortably. This is the web Ajax call. Okay. Yeah, we can just, okay. Again, this is very quick, very dirty. Yeah, it's not really using a functional approach. Just put it in here. No functions can be called. It doesn't follow any modern programming principle JavaScript, but it's a demo. So if I would use this now, it wouldn't work for the following reasons. First one is the URL says some gibberish in the GUID, in the global unique identifier, which must be the contact ID. So this is the first thing that I need to replace, although I didn't really specify it. I think I didn't specify it at all. So there could be some prompt engineering to make this even better. I think I tried it before and it didn't really work out, so I decided not to use it. So at the end, what I'm going to do, I'm just injecting it by myself. And the contact ID at some point, yeah, and that's exactly what I'm missing here. I think maybe my prompt was not accurate that I scripted out, because previously I remember when I prepared the session, I also queried the ID again. So same principle as we had with the button from the list. We have the request object and then we look into the ID parameter and we assign it to a JavaScript variable, which I'm going to do now. I just do it out of the context here. So yeah, this is what the statement or what the Copilot result gave me, that I have to replace with the actual ID. And then I'm lucky I can just basically use this JavaScript variable in my code down here. Contact ID, stringify contact data. Okay, in that case, it's called data. Fine for me. One thing that is missing, I don't have it as a web template right now, so I just injected it. Whenever you want to enable the web API in Power Pages, you need to follow some steps. Yeah, you need to have this constructor at hand. You also need to have some site settings. The site settings I have already done. I'm just going to paste this here so to make it work quick and easy. This is basically just to make the API work. So let's do it here so I can find myself around if there's troubleshooting. Never mind. Okay. So if I'm lucky, save Ajax. Yeah, okay. Then another problem. What Copilot suggested me to actually call the web API is this function call, but I call it a bit differently. I call it save Ajax. So as the Microsoft Learn documentation suggests. So just let me quickly fix that and see if it works. Victor, we are already over time. Is it okay if I continue? We won't be that long, maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
That's fine. Yeah.
Right. Cool. So let's clear the cache. So whenever I work with the web API, I like to open the console to see if I screwed up somewhere. And I give a first hint, but so I open the developer tools and there's already a problem. Let's load it again. Shell is not defined. So this really comes down to the demoing here. So at some point, Mashish is already giving me, writing out some hints. So I guess somewhere in my function calls, I screwed up. Save. Oh, okay. This is probably, we'll get there. Function web API, yeah. No, that's fine. Okay, so I don't want to stretch time. It's essentially what I do. I just mixed something up here because the prompt results are a bit different. But so what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to paste in the pre-validated code, which does exactly the same thing as I described to you. And then we should be good to go. So actually, I just did it last night. So it's nothing old. It's quite recent, the code that I have prepared in advance with the help of Copilot. So still loading. Live coding sessions are always fun. So
Yeah.
we have
No,
also,
you are brave.
I know.
No, this is awesome. I mean, that what I personally like about what we do or doing this way is that you not only learn how to get it done, but also what you do when things don't go as planned. So you get two lessons in one.
Exactly. This is the real life, how it's done every day. Okay, if I now press submit, oh, I need to make a change first. So let's call it Tino 02 hero and press submit. It's loading. Eventually, we will see a message, contact updated successfully. Oh, cool. I mean, what would you expect? Because it's pre-validated code. If I would now, so this is Tino WDD. If I would now refresh, we made the patch operation. Okay, good. So this is already working. So this would be, we have refactored this submit button here. It's actually taking the inputs and doing the data operation for us. Okay, what else do we have in stock? After the data operation, we want to have some success message indication, because right now, let's face it, nobody would know that it's actually worked, except you could look into the console. So what I have prepared for this, and this is the final step, is this prompt. Write code that changes the text. Let me highlight this. Write code that changes the text value of the modal header to success and the modal body to your changes have been saved. Also, let me have a line break. This window will reload in 3 seconds and reload the page. Write JavaScript to wait for 3 seconds and then reload the page. Well, I think that's fairly described in natural language. There you go. We have some custom JavaScript code, which I can inject. This is step 10, which I injected into the success part of the web API call. So whenever I don't know if you know this, so this is how you actually call the web API in Power Pages. It has a section of success. So whenever the operation, the call of the web API and the result is positive, this block gets executed. In our case, that was a console log saying contact updated successfully. And also there's an error block that is executed whenever there's an error. So what we're going to do to make life easy, and again, it's very quick, very dirty, we're just going to inject it into the success part. What we are going to do, we are going to query the DOM, get the element with the ID modal header, modal body, and then just change the values. And afterwards, we set a timeout, and after the timeout, we reload the whole page. What we need to make sure is that we actually have these IDs in place: modal header, modal body. Let's look at our HTML. So we have our modal and we have our body, and there are no IDs. That's not good. So, but we have our H5, our heading of level 5, which has the ID example modal label. And I think I just helped myself by using something like this. Oh, there's actually a typo in it. So what I did, I added the ID to the H5, and then I also organized the please wait portion in the modal body also as a heading, in that case an H6. So what we can do here, we just copy our modal content right there, and we should be good to go. If I wouldn't do this, then of course the JavaScript cannot find these IDs. As we say, get element by ID. I know a million ways to conquer this problem. Get element by class name and so on, so much more. But let's tackle this way. Clear the cache. I just leave console open. Never know if I screwed up somewhere. And let's reload. Okay, now let's cross fingers. I put my phone numbers to 12 and say submit. Loading, please wait. Success. Your changes have been saved. This window will reload in 3 seconds. Oh dear, and it says phone 12. How cool is that? Let's refresh. Phone number 12. Done. We got it. All right. That was the last step. If I look at the building blocks, that's it, the success message. I know this is, again, yeah, a very small example. There's no real no real input validation for the submit and so on. But it gives you an idea of what Copilot is capable of as it is in preview right now, and how maybe you can leverage this to your needs in your daily work. Okay. So thank you very much for your attention. We're already over time. I still have time. If you have questions, let me know.
This is awesome. I didn't see a question on the chat window. I'm not sure if folks here in the call they want to pose a question, but I really like this, Tino, and I like how you showcase also the prompts, not only the results. This is what I wrote. This is what I'm getting. I'm not getting everything because of this, that, and the other. So, now I think it was great demo. Um, Throughout. So thank you so much. One thing I wanted to share with the team here, I'll put it in the chat window as well, is that Microsoft started a channel, or sorry, a GitHub repo for prompts within Power Platform. So that covers Copilot Studio, it covers Power Pages, it covers a number of different products within Power Platform. But the idea is to show some examples that you can then leverage in your own daily work. And I'm sure someone in the community will take those prompts and maybe turn it into a co-pilot of sorts and offer it to the community somewhere. But yeah, that is great. Thank you so much for doing that. And again, I touched on the subject earlier. We're gonna do a mentorship of on the usage of copilots. Hopefully, Tino will come back as a speaker here if he's got time. And we have a number of others. The idea is to show co-pilots from Office application, all the way from writing emails, writing documents, creating PowerPoint applications, all the way into development, not only for Power Pages, but for Power Platform in general. Okay, so we want to look at the whole suite of products within M365, Power Platform, Dynamics 365, governance within Power Platform. We're gonna really unpack a lot of content within the subject of AI and Copilot. So stay tuned. We're gonna do this, I believe, in the fall of 2024. So Tino, once again, thank you. We got a question here about when we upload lessons on YouTube. So we do replays of the lessons. We're gonna do one at 12 p.m. my time, and then again 9:30 p.m. My time, which is 9 a.m. India Standard Time, and then after that we'll move the lesson to YouTube. So you have three opportunities to connect and ask questions as we replay the same lesson today. All right. So we'll see you in any of these um, channels, or you can always write to us, PM, connect with Tino. He's always sharing the latest and greatest news on Power Pages through his newsletter. So make sure you subscribe to his channels online. All right. Thank you again. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Next Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to have lessons from Oliver Rodriguez. He's a fellow Brazilian. He lives in Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland, but he writes a lot of content on Power Pages, especially the overlap of JavaScript, custom JavaScript, and Power Pages objects. So you don't want to miss that. So we'll see you next week. Again, PM me, email, send comments, whatever. If you have questions, concerns, suggestions, we want to make this better for you. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week. Thanks again, Tino. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.